목말라 해 너무 더워 물이 필요해 하려 해요 난 엉덩이 깊이 파인 곳을 찾아다녀 달콤하게 날 더 바라봐줘 너 훌륭해 맨마른 땅을 정글로 만들고 난 몸하고 또 탐험 You know how we do it We just do it All your ladies hands in the air All my ladies hands up in the air 그녀는 날 미치게 해 그녀는 날 숨쉬게 해 yeah. Oh I She's mine, oh I, she's mine, oh I, she's mine, yeah, yeah, she's mine. All you ladies, hands in the air, all my ladies, hands up in the air. 그녀는 날 미치게 해, 그녀는 날 숨쉬게 해, yeah. Get closer to my body. 천국에다가 데려다 줄게, body to body.
Yes. Back in action. The coolest of the cool. The Koolykool Show. Your host, Brent, kicking it here live on this Friday night.
Oh, I, she's mine. Oh, I, she's mine. Oh, I, she's mine. Yeah, yeah. She's mine. All you ladies, hands in the air. All my ladies, hands up in the air.
So fresh. It's been a long time, man.
Yes, you're listening here live on the coolest of the cool, the Koolykool Show. Your host, Brent, kicking it here live on this Friday night. And yes, we are in November. Woo. Thanksgiving is right around the corner. Oh yeah, and the title of the show, our episode is called Back in Action. You're listening to Crush by Oasis. You're listening to Oasis by Crush.
하고 싶죠 하고 있는데도 하고 싶을 거야 그럴 땐 이걸 꺼내 먹어
지금부터 달까지 포켓을 쏘아
All your ladies hands in the air All my ladies hands up in the air 그녀는 날 미치게 해 그녀는 Oh I she's mine Oh I she's mine Oh I she's mine Whoa, 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 yeah, yeah. Ooh.
Yes, you're listening here live on the coolest of the cool, the Koolykool Show. Your host, Brent, kicking here live on this Friday night. Yes, we're rocking coast to coast, north to south, and yes, maybe even in Antarctica. And if you're listening in Antarctica, definitely give us a shout out to see if, I don't know, if you're listening to our show or not. I mean, like I said, coast to coast, east to west, north to south, and even maybe in Antarctica. So you basically, if you're down south in Antarctica, let me know. And by the way, it's getting cold. It's a lot colder out. So the title of the show is called Back in Action. Yep, I've been away from the podcast for probably about a couple weeks, and about 3.5. Got a lot of knee issues, problems. Probably gonna have to have surgery in the near future. Leg problem. Yeah, man, when you get older, it sucks. I've been dealing with a lot of things going on. All pretty good, nothing bad. I just been trying to get to doing my podcast, and just like I said recently, past couple of weeks has been kind of completely busy. Then I don't know what, but to be able to get back, do a podcast, talk to all you great fans and listeners out there. And if you're new to my podcast, thank you. And if you are wondering if I have any more episodes or you want to listen to more, you can definitely check me out on my other social media platform. You can also follow me on my TikTok channel. It's called the Koolykool Show. You can also follow me on my YouTube channel, which is automatically uploaded after my podcast, automatically uploaded to my YouTube channel, which is called the Koolykool Show. You can also follow me on my Instagram page at Brent the Champ. But you can also follow me on Twitter at Koolykool2412. Yes. So, like I said, this topic of the episode is called Back in Action. I don't know what's called Back in Action, but I do believe it's just called, hey, I'm back doing my live podcast, talking to all you great listeners out there. So, let's get this party started. And by the way, that applause is not for me. That applause is to each and every one of you that are listening to my podcast. You can also sure listen to us on Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio. Just type in the Koolykool Show. We are the coolest of the cool of any podcast anywhere. The Koolykool Show. All right? Not gonna be bluffing you. I'm telling you the real stuff around here, okay? The real deal. I'm telling you what goes down here, what we do around here, and how it makes it happen around here. You know what I mean? I know a couple weeks ago I've been talking about, I've been probably talking about for probably, should I say, about 2-3 months. I've been talking about, I said, what is coming in November that apparently that a lot of people probably have been listening to my podcast, probably been like, oh, he's talking crazy. He's talking crazy. I've been talking about it for about a couple months as far as to deal with space things, and it's been talking a lot about certain asteroids coming to Earth in the year 2160 to 2170, and it's a big deal. And certain space programs are developing huge rockets to send up into outer space, and they're going to be doing it this month is when they're supposed to be doing this. This month is when it's supposed to be happening, because it's going to take that amount of time for the rockets to reach their target of this type of asteroids. To reach, Earth in the near future, or the 160 some odd future. So it is, these, like I said, these rockets are supposed to reach up there. They're going to send about 50 to 70 rockets planning in November. As I've been saying for the longest time, that this is what they plan on doing by these certain space programs to do this. Because that's their way of deflecting this asteroid from colliding into Earth. And they've been doing this and wanted to do this for quite some time. They've been talking about it. This is for the summer that I've been talking about this nonsense. And November is here. But the most important part to this subject that I'm talking about is that they need your money in order to fund this project. But if we don't do this and they don't get it done, then what they're telling us is that in the year 2160 to 2170, we're going to be annihilated. The asteroid's going to come, it's going to hit us, and we're going out like the movie Armageddon. No buts, no ifs, certainly no ands. Just straight up, that's your ass. No drama for your mama. Kiss it all goodbye. Because that's what's apparently gonna happen. That's what they said will happen. But they need your money to fuel and fund these massive rockets in order to reach out into the cosmos and go into the blackness of space and divert an asteroid. Sounds ludicrous, doesn't it? Sounds out of this world, doesn't it? Well, we're here in November. As I've been saying for the longest time, sometimes these space programs and sometimes these space ideas are absurd and out of this goddamn world. Because you wonder who the hell makes this shit up. And we're going to delve in this. We're going to talk just a little bit about nonsense and hearing nonsense and hearing the abundance of crazy shit. And then this was an article that I read. Like I said, I'm not making this up. If I'm making this up, then clearly I have issues. But I'm not, because actually, probably 2 months ago, there was actually an article on something of CNS and BC or something like that. Had talked about an asteroid coming in about 100 and some years, and they were like, oh yeah, and the one reporter was like, I'm gonna be sure to call in sick that day. I forgot who was it that said that, but that's what they said. And that's I tell you, it's insanity when you think that this is actually published in an actual news article, and they're putting this out here, and they're trying to get people to believe in this and to actually fund this. I mean, in 2160 to 2170, is anyone here on this earth going to be alive during that time period? We're in 2021. Yes, think about it. Think about it. Not long, because we don't want you to delve much long on the craziness of this. But think about it really short, sweet, and simple. We're in 2021, and they're talking about something that's supposed to come happen near 2160, 2170. And now I already said beforehand, it was a huge thing back in, over in the summer. Well, the beginning of the summer, there was a big talk about, the government divulging information on UFOs and the UAVs and, telling the American people and the world about, we're going to divulge the secrets about UFOs really existing. It's a big, huge thing. People were, astonished. People were getting hyped. People were like, the government's finally going to tell the existence of aliens, that ET's for real, and he's been phoning home, and, the men in black, they're really believing this shit. And it was hyped. And then finally, when, obviously, as I said before, the government gave a generic answer to a question that was just, I'm not going to say it was an oddball question. I'm going to say it was just a typical question. But the government gave a generic answer to a question that they knew they weren't going to fully divulge at all. And, and people was, they were like, I can't believe, I'm disappointed. I thought they were, if you thought they were going to tell you anything other than the generic answer, you were bought into the hype. You were bought into the mystical of the, you can tell us about everything. It's great. No. And I mean, there was such a big push for, the whole space realm and, ET and all this other stuff. And then it went by the wayside. And then something else took over, and then they were hyping that up, and everything was kind of, for the space talk, was slowly going away, slowly tucking away, slowly going away. I mean, they just had billionaires early this year who were flying out into, doing their own space things. And, no one thought that kind of was odd, but, that, hey, what do I know? I'm doing a podcast. If I get about 2 listeners, I'm grateful. Matter of fact, if I got 1 listener that's listening, hell, I'm grateful. But, they had all this stuff that had your attention diverted to something else other than what is actually truly going on. But, people tend not to understand and not notice the man behind the curtain, who's paying no attention to the man behind the curtain. Of course not. You don't want to pay attention to him, because he's the one pulling the strings. He's the one pressing the buttons. You don't want to see the trickery that he's been doing, because it's going to mess up the show. It's going to mess up the illusion. It's going to mess up the false sense of reality. That's what the whole thing, and a lot of this is they don't want to mess up a good thing, because in the end, it is designed to do what? for you. Yes, you're listening here, is designed for you, the individual person, and your peoples, and your family, and your friends, and your cousins, and uncles, aunts, and whatever, It is designed for you to buy into certain shit to fund these people that are in it to get your money so that they can get money. And they can be rich. It's nothing but a big con freaking game. That's it. It's a big con game. The whole thing is. Like, for instance, they had where, we're going to be sending people up and, you could win a free trip to get, not a free trip. Sorry, let's scratch the free and put in, you could go into outer space for a period of time. But all you gotta do is pay $250,000 and you can make your dream come true. Oh, by the way, food and drinks and beverages and watching a movie, in-flight movie is not included anyway. By the way, just gonna put it out there. And there will be no souvenirs, there's gonna be no flash photography to show that you was there. It's just going to be a big old green screen, your money taken, then a delay in the process of actually going about doing the bid. Until, sorry, came with some technical difficulties, but we'll be able to refund you in some other type of ways. Smoke and mirrors, ladies and gentlemen, smoke and mirrors. I don't know where anybody came with the term of that, smoke and mirrors. I guess because of the fact that the great con men, the magicians of this time, of the, how do I put it? The great, con artists of the, I guess, of the I'm taking your money kind of plot people that, that's what this is, smoke and mirrors, is because they put a bunch of mirrors here, diverting your attention, make it think you like, where's the real person at? Where I can't find him. And then you're bumping into, because guess what? The man behind the curtain just keeps moving around. He's like, you can't get a hold of me. You don't know where I'm at. And then you got the smoke and everything. The smoke's just much more difficult for you to find out where the hell they're at. It's like the Enter the Dragon with Bruce Lee in it at the end of the movie. He's in that room with all the mirrors, and he's trying to figure out where the guy is at. He's sliding on the mirror, trying to figure his way to get out. He's trying to find out where that dude's at, because he's whoop his ass. He eventually does, because he's the hero of the movie, and obviously the hero ends up doing it. But in reality, the hero sometimes it doesn't really happen that way. But like I said, it's a big old con game that's been going on for probably the beginning of time. It's all designed to get your money, and that's what it's all going to do. The greatest con people are the ones that have all the money, and have all the money. When I mean they have all the money, they have all the money. They've bought your votes. They've, tricked you into buying things that you don't really need, consumer-wise. Was it 2020, last year, when the hot topic of discussion, or the hot commodity, was the fact of toilet paper? You could not literally find yourself 4 rolls of toilet paper, the stuff to wipe your booty, in any facet of stores. They had to hurry up and manufacture and make some more of the toilet paper, because apparently somebody said, get your toilet paper, get it now. And people went buck wild at getting toilet paper. The pandemic, people went crazy buying the toilet paper, and you couldn't even find it. And if you did have, you was like trying to be scarce. You'd be like, look, you're only going to use so much. You're not going to use a lot. Okay? And this is the stuff I'm talking about. And this really relates back to what I'm talking about as far as, The rockets that's going to send up in outer space because it's going to take some time to travel out there to meet up and blow or knock off the course of this asteroid that's coming in 2160 to 21. So, like I said, they don't even know the exact time or age or year when it's supposed to come. They just know it's somewhere between that 2160 to 2170. Yeah, this is the world we live in. It's an all sort of con game. Sort of con game that works for the entitled, the richly entitled people. And it's not getting any better, folks. It's actually getting worse because people are still buying into this, and they're buying it into the mass abundance. I mean, with the way the world is, with technology, the spread of information can be spread over within a matter of seconds, minutes, as opposed to 40, 50 years ago, it took about a couple days, weeks, and it's gotten to the point where people is just doing anything to build a rep for themselves. Like, for instance, TikTok. I like TikTok. There's some videos on TikTok that are very funny. Yeah, I mean, there's some very creative people make some very creative videos. But sometimes you see some people make some certain videos and then their stuff goes viral and you're like, how the hell did that go viral? I put time and energy to making a video and it doesn't even nearly get as many views as all these other videos did. And you sit there, scratch your head, like, you try to figure, like, what the hell? But that just kind of leans into the process. It's like they try to dumb us down with a lot of things. Like, if you look right now, what is the biggest thing along the entire market in the United States? What is the United States is primarily like, number one at pharmaceutical prescription medications and all that stuff. We're like the lead runners in this. They want to keep Americans, they want to keep us people, on certain medications, which I'm not saying certain medications aren't good because they do a lot of good to help people. But they want us to try to keep us in a slither of control to where sometimes we are dependent upon the very essence of certain things so that way they can control us. I mean, it's true, okay? I mean, it's not all going to be entirely true in some certain because lots of some medication just help. But it's just kind of thought process like that, like who actually, when you have these articles put out, don't they have a proofreader? Don't they have an editor that says, hey, where the fuck did you get these sources from? Because this shit don't fucking make sense. This is some utter and complete shit. But they're putting this shit out for people to read. It's like the fucking tabloids from back in the day. You knew the tabloids was complete horse shit. And you knew it was complete nonsense, and you couldn't believe a tether of anything that the fucking tablets would tell you because you knew it was complete fucking nonsense. But people would be like, well, that's the fucking tablets, and it's dumb, but I'm getting my kicks of laughing at this. But now in day and age, it seems like a lot of the stuff out there, they just keep constantly putting out there, and they're like, well, I don't expect people to understand it. I don't expect people to fucking, go along with the whole program and, think that I'm just joking or bullshitting. I anticipate them believing it. And believing it to the extent where they're going to tell somebody else. The next person's going to believe this. Next person's going to believe that. And then it's going to be like this whole black. But then when you throw in a slew of those, hey, going to need a little help over here. Going to need you to spend a little here. It's shit like that. And that's not helping the world. It's not helping society. It's not. Because it's now making people self-centered one way as not the all musketeers, all for one and one for all. No, it's all for one and one for your goddamn self. That's what it is. You know? It's pretty fucking sad when you think about it. I don't know, that's just me. Maybe I'm ranting on too much. I don't know. But I'm just kind of putting things out there and just letting people kind of understand where certain things are. And this is just from a very small part that I talked about for the past couple months about this asteroid that's coming in 2160 to 2170. It's a small little tether what I'm talking about. Very small. But, you know, this is the world we live in. And you know, smoke and mirrors and the man behind the curtain. Cracking myself up here. You know I'm crazy if I'm laughing at myself, right? No, I'm not. But like I said, if you're laughing at yourself, you gotta have some comedy with yourself. But and what I'm speaking and what I'm telling you, it's actually pretty true. It is actually pretty true. A lot of things aren't as always what it seems to be. I mean, it's kind of like, for instance, I'm trying to think of some other things that come across. Okay, how about this one? Like for instance, one of the in history, one of the people that I like, that I would kind of like to sit down and talk to, you know, and just ask where their mind was at and what they think of and what's their thought process. Is that they had said that the greatest bank robber ever in history, and they said it's John Dillinger. Now, I think John Dillinger, if you've done any, you know what I'm talking about, you did any kind of research on him, he's actually a very intriguing person that you can actually you'd be kind of like, wow, what the heck? Why did he do this stuff? You know, and they say he's the greatest bank robber ever. I don't think he's the greatest bank robber ever, because if he was the greatest bank robber ever, he would have never got caught. You know, that's just my opinion. If he was the greatest bank robber ever, he would have never got caught. And he certainly would be going robbing banks, and people, yeah, that was John Dillinger robbing banks, and his whole crew, you know, Babyface Nelson and all of them people. Yeah, they never got caught. They would have never been identified, never been, you know, fingered or something. You know, I think they were the most notable bank robber ever. I think he was the most notable bank robber ever, because he's what got, you know, a certain federal organization rocking and rolling, because they were like, well, shit, might as well go ahead and make us look good by going after this dude, because this dude been pointed by everybody. So if we can catch him, it makes us look good. You know, anybody's just like, we get him, we doing us a solid, because guess what? Everybody's going to be on our back. Everybody's going to be like, wow, you guys got this guy. So sometimes they pretty much been like, hyped him up a little bit, said he was the greatest and the amaziest bank robber ever, and he was, you know, he got out of prison and he snuck out and all this other stuff. You don't think sometimes they kind of put the little hype in there to eventually, when they know they were going to eventually catch him, because they're like, oh yeah, we're going to catch him, but in the same time patting themselves to make themselves look good, sound good, you know, so that when the time came for them to let's see, you know, showcase themselves into being, oh, I'm the best, made them look good. All right, I'm just saying, it's always somebody back. Well, I guess my dad always says he's like Smiler, or like the guy twirling the mustache at the tips of things that's way out here. And so there's always somebody lurking like that. There has to be. I certainly think there is, because, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if you're asking to, you know, be like, well, what about you, Brent? You're doing your show, because, you know, you're probably conning them too. No, I'm not conning you. Actually, what I'm telling you is pretty accurate and pretty much, you know, 100% telling you the truth. If you actually look at this without blinders on, without getting tunnel vision, without thinking, you know, inside the box. If you're thinking outside the box, you can see what the box really is. And it's not a fucking box. It's actually a fucking obscured fucking image or obscured item. You know? It's what it is. Like people always say, "Oh, the box has, it has, 6 sides, 4 sides, or something." The box really doesn't. Actually, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. About 6 sides, I believe so. But it has more than what people totally think it is. People say, "Well, it's dimensions, Bill." So, we're at a halfway point. I'm gonna do as what I always, since I'm back in action. I'm going to go get something to drink. And, I'm going to go get something to drink. And then we're going to be back for some more of the coolest of the cool, the Koolykool Show with your host, Brent, kicking air on this Friday night, back in action. Yes. So, stay with us. I'm going to go get something to drink real quick. And, we're going to get back to this topic on a lot of stuff, which is called Back in Action, but it's more or less just me rambling. So, I like to listen to some Freddie Jammage. I think Raindrops. Man, I'm bad pronouncing things. So, all right, be right back. So, stick with us. Be right back in just 1 second. Yes, welcome back here to the coolest of the cool, the Koolykool Show. Your host, Brent, kicking here live on this Friday night. Yes, and if I haven't told you already, I'm going to say it again. You can be sure to follow us on our other social media platform. You can follow me on Twitter at Koolykool2412. You can follow me there. You can also follow me on my TikTok channel, the Koolykool Show. You can also follow me on the YouTube channel, which my podcasts are automatically uploaded to my YouTube channel. It's the Koolykool Show. You can also follow me on Instagram, Brent the Champ. And be sure to hear us on iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Spotify. So we were talking about, the title of the show is called Back in Action. We were talking a little bit about how the man behind the curtain, smoke and mirrors, about how things are not as always what they seem. And we got to start off with the topic of talking about how I've been saying it for the past couple of months about this space program. I gotta say which one, but if you heard my previous space talk, you would know which one. That they're supposed to send up about 50 to 60 rockets to divert this asteroid that's supposed to be coming here and blow Earth away in the year 2160 to 2170. But them do so, they need your money and assistance to do so. That's how we got started, and then led on to a lot of other things. As far as, like I said, people are out to get your money, to deceive you at pretty much every run of the mill for major things. Rich stay rich by conning the shit out of people. I mean, they do it well. You gotta admit, they do it well. They do that well. But I mean, if you happen to just see where certain things are and how things are played out, it's all, let's see, what did the late Heath Ledger say? And he's played the Joker. It's all part of the plan. You see, you're a freak like me. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm a freak, but I'm saying it's all part of a plan. There's a certain design to it all. I mean, how many times when you went to school as a child, you learned certain things that you were taught in class, and frankly, a lot of stuff. But let's say, not going to say about the math. I'm not going to say about some of the science. We're going to talk about a lot of the history. You know, as far as the social studies, you learn about certain things that happen, and they don't ever tell you the full story, the picture, a lot of things. You know, they're not going to really divulge much. Like, obviously, you'll go into, when you're a kid, you'll learn about, slaves and, and this and that, and then, the Underground Railroad, and then slavery was abolished. You'll obviously learn about that because it's a big, big thing. And there's no way for them to kind of sugarcoat, kind of hush, hide that stuff. You can't. It's not. You just can't do it. But what they'll try to do is patent a kind of nice little cushion to it, or, trying to chalk it over a little bit without telling you the full realm of things, and they'll let you believe that, it was just during that time period where there was only slavery and that was it. And then it ended. Once they decided slavery was bad. But they didn't really tell you, as far as a lot of things in history, that, let's just say, slavery did not just exist between the time period where it was actually brought about, and then it was noted that most people know about, and especially here in America. No. Slavery has been around for years. Well, I'm sorry, slavery, not years. Slavery has been around for many hundreds of thousands of years. And it is something that's been going on well far and much more just bad than you and I have known. But they don't tell you that. They just tell you certain key parts. The key parts in the movie that are interesting, but they're not going to tell you about the boring shit. Which is not really boring. It's actually probably the most informative parts, but they don't want to tell you about that. They want to keep you in tune with the action part. Because if they tell you the whole thing, then your mind will expand and be like, whoa, hold the fuck up, man. What the fuck? They don't want to tell you the true aspect of it. I mean, just as far as, I'm just going to say, JFK. JFK was assassinated, as president, but I mean, for him, but they, everybody says he was a great president, he was an awesome president. I'm not saying anything bad about the man being the president. I'm not saying anything of that. He did his job, he did his job well. But then I gotta tell you that this man was like the man. He was like, hey, what's up, baby? How you doing? Good. He was that kind of guy, but they're not going to tell you that. They're not going to put that here. But there's other stuff that you would have to do on your own research to find this out. Like I said, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. They're not going to do that. I mean, it's like, for instance, Bill Cosby, just putting it out there. If you know Bill Cosby, Bill Cosby. He was the football player in college, and he was Mr. Huxtable. the Cosby Show. The guy that be like, oh, he could do no wrong. Then you find out Mr. Cosby was doing wrong, and you're like, whoa. Be like, hold up a second. Like, these are things that many people, unless you research this and you delve into it, you look into it, it's a dark, grim kind of thing. CIA. 3-letter acronym. They got their eerie start from acquiring certain scientists from enemy countries from back in the day. But obviously, I guess in tune, you would do that to gain advantage, to get the best people, the smart people on your side. So it's like, was it wrong? Sort of, but at the same time, you want to one up it and an advantage against other people, so you can't really say it was wrong. You know what I'm saying? So it's just very kind of statuous on how certain things are done. And as certain things are done, you kind of want to be like, oh, well, there's always something kind of skeptical about everything. I mean, it is. That's why when the space talk, there's a lot of things. It's involving people's money, and I think people should be more in tune to understand. You shouldn't pay $250,000 just for a ticket to go in so-called outer space, but you're not really going outer space. You're going to get the extra layer of outer space. So, just be careful, because there's a lot of bullshit out there, So, and that song marks it. As far as we've come to the conclusion of our show here on the coolest of the cool, the Koolykool Show, your host Brent, kicking it here live on this Friday. Yep, that's Under Your Spell by Desire. Yeah. So the title of the show is called The Back End Action. I know I haven't been here with you. I've had a lot of things going on, a lot of type of training, all good, nothing bad. I've just been so preoccupied, I could not get the time to actually do the podcast at a certain normal time that I'd like to do. But definitely, since that period thing is over now, I can actually focus a little bit more back onto it and get back to all you great listeners of all my 2 to probably 3, hopefully maybe 4, maybe 5, on a good day 6, I guess. But be sure to follow us on our other social media platforms, and be sure to like and subscribe and follow us. Like I said, my show here, I'm telling you the truth. Keep your minds sane. Keep your minds understanding the reality of the situation, okay? So, you're here live on the coolest of the cool, the Koolykool Show. Your host, Brent, kicking it here live on this Friday night. Coast to coast, east to west, north to south, and even maybe in Antarctica. Hopefully Antarctica, if you're hearing me. I know it's getting cold. We're entering the winter months. So, you're here on the coolest of the cool, the Koolykool Show. Your host, Brent. Take care and good. Bye.